All right, it's your buddy, it's your pal, Mike Messier. We're here to have a discussion about technology. And when I mean technology, I really probably pretty much going to talk about social media, emails, things of that nature that most people by now have integrated fully into their lives, into their communication, and so on and so forth. But I want to come at this topic from a point of view of someone who's kind of been on both ends of that spectrum. My life has run the gamut of all that social media and all the emails and everything. Wonderful things, of course, to an extent, or for the most part. But also there's a side of that I think that a lot of people, maybe younger people or the media or whoever the fuck, who sometimes they hop on some tweet or some fucking Facebook status or some post that some celebrity usually did, or political person or whatever the fuck, someone in the public eye. They dig up some tweet or some Facebook status and they harp and they hound on it as if this statement in tweet form is some type of full-on representation of the individual. Now, in certain cases, for instance, yes, our president, there's a long trail of tweets and so forth that would go to show certain points of view that might not be pleasing to a lot of folks, or erraticness and so forth. So that's a different topic. What I'm talking about more so is when someone who's either in the public eye by choice or thrust into the public eye ends up with some controversy or some public interest story, and then they dig up, they being the media or whoever the fuck, digs up some tweet or some status statement from years earlier as representation of what this person's all about. Okay, well, maybe there's some merit to that, but on the flip side, just as a conversation, when I approach social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, whatever the fuck, I always do it with a certain sense, or even these videos, okay? I always do it with a certain sense of detachment, a certain sense of humor, a certain sense of what I'm writing is kind of a half-veiled cloak of anonymity and a half-not-veiled cloak. I can say what I want to say, but it doesn't really count because there's no one in my face to listen to it. It's all typing. It's all bullshit behind the computer. And some people, I feel, younger people, or maybe there's a divide, people that have totally bought into the machine, so to speak, they don't see that divide. They don't see that cloak, or they don't want to see that cloak, or they don't want to accept that others have a cloak. They feel that if you type something on social media, you mean it. And all the fucking, wink emojis, or all the smiley faces, or all the LOLs won't get you a fucking get out of jail free card with these people that'll hold you to the fire for everything you've ever tweeted or Facebook messaged or whatever the fuck. So my point is not to give a giant get out of jail free card for every person who ever says a bunch of stupid shit on the internet. Obviously, if there's a pattern or a history of someone who repeatedly says stupid things or writes stupid things on the internet with bad spelling, bad grammar, or just cruelty or whatever the fuck, then sure, so be it. Go after them. But if it's just a deal where every time you Facebook status or you fucking Twitter fuck or whatever the fuck, to me, if that's as valid in this day and age as how you really feel, or what you would swear on a stack of Bibles, or what you would say in a court of law, or what would you say at a press conference, or what would you say at someone's funeral? Hey, how can you say rest in peace to such and such when 15 years earlier you tweeted that they were a fuck? Well, because I'm multi-dynamic like that, all right? So I guess what I'm saying is, for people of a certain ilk or a certain intelligence level or a certain age, social media and all these things, for me at least, have a built-in mechanicism of irony or humor or detachment that, no, this is not how I really feel 100% of the time when I'm putting on social media. This is not the real me. This is a work, to use a wrestling term. Look it up if you have to. This is a gimmick, another wrestling term. Look it up if you have to. This is a character, okay, so you know what character is. This is a representation of Mike Messier, or enter your fucking name here, that you present to the world with a sense of zest and humor, okay? It's not, oh gee whiz, I really feel this way, sad face emoji. So I guess what I'm saying is, or I know what I'm saying is, lay the fuck off. People who take social media as the end-all, be-all of how they judge other people, how they make their personal opinions on other people, how they hold other people to the fire. Just consider the fact that we're human beings at some point, and there's fucking fresh air, whether it's cold or not, and things of that nature. So people who live and die by 140 characters or less, or 280 characters or less, or whatever restraints or whatever restrictions you put on your brain, maybe you ought to learn how to spell check. Maybe you ought to learn how to have a conversation with a real live human being. Listen to the radio with, God forbid, commercials, and see what's going on in your local world. Instead of being a slave to convenience, which is the title of my next film, and stop, subscribing to the community or the culture of, lowest case scenario, or the majority rules all the time, or so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. So you might think, you might get what I'm saying, or you might not. And I think that's another thing where, if one little brain out there has been opened up a little bit and say, well, gee whiz, maybe this guy's right. Maybe I shouldn't get all worked up when someone says something on social media. Maybe I shouldn't get all hot and bothered about what happens on social media every day. Maybe I should take a real look at what's going out there in the world. All right? I mean, there's actual things going on with actual people. I mean, here's a gym. It's cold, and people, this middle-aged woman over there is going to the gym. I'm leaving my car. Okay? So we're doing things in what appears to be at least a facsimile of reality. We're actually doing things here that would provoke human interaction. Going to a gym with other people. I'm not doing DDP yoga in a small apartment. I'm going to a place where other people are sweating. Human sweat. It's cold. It's like 6 degrees outside, and I'm outside talking, making a video to share with you some thoughts. I'm living a life. And that's what I encourage everyone to do. It doesn't have to be what I do. It doesn't have to be what your neighbor does. But get out of your goddamn little box in your thoughts. And if you can take 5 minutes a day off social media, if you can force yourself to turn your phone off for 20 minutes, can you do that? Can you turn your phone off for 20 minutes a day? Prime time, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's my 2:20. For 20 minutes, I'm turning my phone off at 2 o'clock. Try that today. So this is Mike Messier with your Mike Messier rant. It's kind of going on in a bunch of different wonderful places, but it's all out of love and respect for you, the Mike Messier viewer.